In this video, we'll be talking about how we never know if we made the right or wrong decision. And also, we never know if our situation is good or bad. Some very interesting stuff, very excited to talk about it. Now, you see, most of us, and also including me a lot of the times, have this idea that there's a right and wrong decision. And the decision that we make will determine the trajectory of the rest of our lives. And then we're paralyzed. We're anxious, we're scared, we can't make a decision because we think if we make the wrong decision, then the rest of our life is ruined. But you see, this is a very deterministic way of looking at things. And I don't think that this is the way that it is. And you see, once you realize that you never know if the decision that you made is good or bad, that there is no right and wrong decision, it can make us a lot less anxious, and it can make our decision making a lot easier. Now first, how do we know if we made the right decision? We judge it by the outcome. If it's a good outcome, good decision, bad outcome, bad decision. But how do you know if the outcome is good or bad? Because you don't really know, because you never know what the future holds. Our decision may lead to an outcome that right now we think that it's a good outcome. But maybe that good outcome leads to something bad. And that bad thing leads to something good, and so on. There are just too many variables that come into play. And it's just so unpredictable. The future is just so unpredictable that we just don't know whether or not the thing that happened is good or bad. I mean, don't you remember these experiences from the past? You can probably relate that maybe at that time you thought that the thing that happened to you was horrible. And then it actually turned out to be a great thing that happened. And you wouldn't change it for anything. And to explain more, let me tell you this great story of the old Chinese farmer who lost his horse. You see, a long time ago, there was an old Chinese farmer. And one day his horse ran away. And then the neighbors came around and told him that this is bad fortune, this is such a bad thing. And the old man said, well, maybe. And the next day, his horse returned to the farm with 3 other wild horses. And then the neighbors came around and told the farmer, this is such a great thing, this is good fortune. And then the farmer said, well, maybe. And then the next day, as the farmer's son was trying to tame one of the wild horses that came back with the original horse, he fell off of his back and broke his leg. And then the neighbors came around and told him, this is such a bad fortune, this is so bad. And the farmer said, well, maybe. And then the next day, the emperor decided to start a war on the neighboring nation. And the army came to the old man's farm looking to recruit capable men. But when they saw that his son's leg was broken, they didn't take him to the war. And that war, a lot of men died. But his son survived because his leg was broken. And then the neighbors came around and told the old farmer that this is such a great thing, this is good fortune. And the old man said, well, maybe so, maybe not. We'll see. You see, I really love this story. It really shows you that we never know if something that happened to us is good or bad. We never know it because there are just too many variables at play. We never know what this situation leads to. We never know what the future holds. And just in the same way, we don't know if an outcome of our decision is good or bad. For example, let's say that you're deciding between going to 2 colleges, college A and college B, and eventually you decide to go to college A, but it turns out to be not what you expected, that it's pretty bad. And then you start thinking to yourself, man, I wish I wouldn't have come to this college. I made the wrong decision. But you see, what you're doing here is that you're comparing what college A is like to what you think college B would have been like. You're comparing an actual experience with an idea, with a thought, which is not real. How do you know if you went to college B that it wouldn't have been worse? You just don't know. It might have been much worse, but you don't know. And how do you know that at college A, maybe that's where you'll find your future life, and that it might turn out to be a great decision that you've made? You see, you just don't know. And you see, the main idea is that you can only experience one decision. You can't go back and choose the other one and see how it would have been like. It's already in the past. You only have one life. You can only take one decision at a time. So you don't know what it would have been like to choose the other decision. This is why you can't compare the two. This is why saying that I wish I wouldn't have taken the other decision, it probably would have been much better, that's complete bullshit. It's not true because you can't compare the two. You just don't know what the other decision would have led to. It might have been good, it might have been bad, but in the reality, it's none of those. It's just the way as it is. It's neither good, it's neither bad. Because these labels, good or bad, we put those labels on events. The event itself is neutral. It's neutral. We only put those labels on it. We put our judgments on things. But those judgments don't exist out there in reality. You see, one person might say that it's such a good thing that it's raining outside today. Another person might say it's such a bad thing that it's raining outside today. But the rain itself is neutral. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just rain. And it's just the same with your situation. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just the way as it is. So instead of focusing on making the right decision, make the decision right. Instead of focusing on making the right decision, make the decision right. Because you can't go back. You don't know what the future holds, and you can adapt along the way. And you don't know what the other option would have been like. So just accept it. Accept whatever choice, whatever decision that you've made, because you already made it. You can't go back. It's in the past. And you don't know what the future holds. Focus on this moment. What's in your control right now. What you can do, your action right now. Your thoughts, your opinions, your beliefs. How you interpret this event. That is in your control in this moment. Now let's also talk about how we decide, because this is also very interesting. I heard these things that I'm going to be talking about from Alan Watts, and he was talking about a book called The Book of Changes, which is a very old Chinese book that they've used to make decisions. Basically, they would, back in the old days, they would crack turtle shells and see the patterns in the turtle shells and see the book, okay, what does this pattern say, and make a decision based on that. And the way he showed it is by throwing some coins, and whether the coin turned out to be positive or negative, either wrote a continuous line or a not continuous line, and based on the pattern that it gave, he looked at the Book of Changes and what description that it gave for his problem. And now most of us think that this is a stupid way of making decisions, that he doesn't consider all the probabilities and statistics, that it's just a flip of a coin and it's completely irrational. But when we are faced with a decision, we go into it, we analyze the data, we put up the pros against the cons and look at the statistics, probabilities and all of that. But an old Chinese who believed in this might say to us, when you're considering the facts, how do you know what facts are exactly involved? You see, Alan Watts gave this example that maybe you're signing a contract with someone and you're thinking of the relevant facts in this decision that you want to make. You're thinking of the state of your business, the state of the other fellow's business, the market and all of these things, so on and so on. But you see something that you have never considered may enter the situation and change it completely. The other guy might slip on a banana peel and hit his head, and now he's insufficient for doing business. I mean, how could anyone think of this event when taking the safe and rational route to making the decision? You just can't consider all the facts, and you don't know what the relevant facts are. You will leave out a bunch of stuff. Or you might also say, how do you know when you've gotten enough data? Because of course the data, the causes, the problems, they are infinite. There are just too many variables that come into play. And we either stop collecting data and analyzing and getting information when we either get tired of it and tired of thinking about it, or when the time comes to act and we can't collect any more data. And then we just make a decision based on whim or some kind of intuition or on the few data that we collected. And he would say that this is just as irrational as flipping coins, because you decide when to stop investigating in a very arbitrary way. So are you in any other better place than us in making decisions, flipping coins and looking at the book, looking at what it says? Now, I'm not saying that one form of decision making is better than the other, that these fortune tellings and all of this book of changes and that stuff is better than rational thinking of a decision. Both of them are, to be honest, I don't know a lot about this fortune telling and this decision making and all of that stuff. I barely know anything about it. But I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I think that an analytical approach can be very useful, especially when you have time to think through that problem and when it's more mechanical. But of course you can't take everything into account. You can't have everything under control, and at some point you will just have to trust the universe. You just have to trust that things will turn out the way that they will turn out, and you don't know what the future holds. So remember that you never know if you made the right decision and wrong decision. To be honest, I don't even think that there are, maybe there are, I'm not sure. I'm still not sure if there are right or wrong decisions, because you never know. You never really know. Maybe you die, and you might say, oh, this is so bad I died, but maybe the fact that you died saved you from another very painful, much more painful death. Or maybe you would have become another Hitler or something like that. You never know what the future holds. So it's very interesting. I'm not sure if there are right or wrong decisions. To be honest, maybe there is no wrong decision, maybe there is no right decision. Very interesting stuff, but remember that you just never know what the future holds. You never know it. So focus on what you can do right now, on your actions. And don't focus on making the right decisions, but on making your decision right. Thank you for watching, and if you're interested, I'm doing free one-on-one calls. You can send me an email, ask me anything that you want, we'll arrange a video call, and we can talk and you can ask me whatever you want. So email in the description. Thank you for watching this video, thank you for being here. All the love towards you. Have a great day, and goodbye.